We're back, baby. It's time to go cruising around the world, and we're so excited because today is a cruise episode of the Travel Think Tank, and we are not coming on alone. We've got Galen Mathews from Royal Caribbean and John Diorio from Virgin Voyages to guide us back to the seven seas, and we could not be more excited here on the Hub. Welcome to the Travel Think Tank. I'm Pat Miller, your host of the Hub, and the Hub is where the travel industry gathers under one roof, and the Travel Think Tank is where we kick around issues that we all just need to get out on the table, where we can ask dumb questions. Well, that's really my part of the big deal here, is to ask all the dumb questions. You can ask smart questions because you probably know what you're talking about, but it's fun, it's lighthearted, it's a chance to get beyond the boring webinars and get down to business so we can all continue our path to prosperity. So let's check in with Hub HQ and talk to my co-founder, Tom Brousseau. Howdy, partner. How are things at HQ today?
Hey, things are very good at the HQ today. Thank you all for being here. I know nothing else is really happening today, that's taking up people's attention, creating any anxiety or anticipation, whatever it might be. So hopefully this is a nice little diversion for everybody. I know it is for me. So thank you all very much. Thanks to John and to Galen for being here today. The timing is perfect. We've been sort of waiting and, idling, waiting for our cruise colleagues and our cruise friends to get back to the place where we can go full speed ahead. And I think that, that day is at least the initial hurdle has been passed, and then we're gonna move on from there. So we're gonna talk about that today. Also want to just do a quick wrap up on Hubtoberfest. We've talked about this on each of the events. And really, I guess from my standpoint, I couldn't not be happier. Where we started at the beginning of October and where we ended, we added about 300 really awesome agents to the Hub. And that brings with it, lots of energy, lots of ideas, lots of collaboration, which is what we're all about. So I really want to, once again, thank John Diorio, thank Andrea Wright, from Virgin Voyages and Playa Resorts, respectively, for really helping us to make it happen. Because we had an idea, they supported us, we went out there and executed, and really I think did really, really well. And the best part of the whole thing is all of these great new faces that are joining us. We talked about Ruby and the efforts that she's made, and all the great agents that have joined us, and also too the ones like Molly Friend and Tom Carnes and the ones that show up week after week. We got to say thanks to them too, because they're part of the what's really making this go. So we have a lot of work to do, and just wanted to say that once you get your mojo going, you don't want it to stop. So keep your eyes open for what's coming next, because we really realize that we got to keep it going and keep the momentum going strong as we head into the fall on the Hub.
Yeah, a couple of tricks up our sleeve. Little tease there, Tom. Look at you.
A little bit, I'll try.
Just putting something out there and be like, I can't tell you yet. We do maybe have an announcement on Thursday. Are we thinking we've got some goodies for the Thursday morning show? Is that right?
I think we're going to bring it. We're going to bring something fun on Thursday to kind of show you guys what's next. And I think that'll be great. And so please tune in on Thursday for the morning show with Marilyn Cairo.
Yes.
From Charisma Resorts.
Yeah,
so
that's
that'll be
awesome. Fun. Yeah, the secret about running a community is it's not about me and Tom, it's about you. And the great thing about a community is it gets better as it gets bigger. So the Hub growing the size of the community to as much as it did is great, because there are more people here contributing more perspectives, asking more questions, getting more help. And we see this as the start of a snowball that's rolling down the hill. So hopefully we're going to look back on our little numbers here in October and think it was just the start, and look where we are now. And thanks to each and every one of you for helping us grow. So let's turn our attention to sailing, shall we? Let's talk about cruising. Galen Mathews from Royal Caribbean, John Diorio, welcome to you both, and thank you for coming on the Think Tank today. Galen, let's start with you. Can we set the stage about the CDC no sail order, what it was, and what's the status of it? Because that was the bottleneck of going back out. Is that right?
That actually was the bottleneck. So we are really thrilled that the CDC has replaced the current no sale order with a framework for conditional sailing. So while they lifted the no sale order, we still have a lot of work to do on our end, but this is a huge milestone towards the resumption of service. And it's a great sign for the pathway going forward for all cruise lines, every single cruise line involved, and for the entire industry. So for months, John will tell you this, we've been working in the background on, I can't even tell you how many what if scenarios. If it goes this way, we'll do this. If they say you can only sail on a Tuesday, then we'll do this. So the teams have been doing an incredible job, and now the hard work really begins. And that's with the itinerary planning, the provisioning. Most important thing is getting the crew back, getting them on healthy, making sure the ships have everything that we need, and redesigning the ships for more distancing. So there's so many little steps along the way, but the great news is there's so much that's been done behind the scenes that you guys will be thrilled when you see what the individual cruise lines come out with. And I'll just tell you one thing right up front, because I know safety and security and health and security is number one for customers and for you as well. We don't compete on that. We are all on the same page. If we have information, we give it to John. If John has information, we give it to us. We are going to come out so strong and so incredible to give you that consumer confidence, which is what they're looking for. And they want you to deliver it. So it's our job as an industry to deliver that to you.
Well, you mentioned other cruise lines. I only know two off the top of my head, Royal Caribbean and Virgin.
I agree.
John, it's great to have you back on the show, and I know that you've been having your powder held dry all this time. So when do you get to go out?
Well, look, that's the $1,000,000 question. As Galen mentioned, I mean, we are thrilled to see the positive change with the no sale order lifted. I mean, we've went from one acronym to another. Now we have a conditional sale order, but it is a step in the right direction. I think, as you've probably seen today with even CLIA's announcement just a few hours ago, that as an industry, we all have each other's back. I mean, it's in everyone's best interest that we return in the right way. We're already seeing great things come out of MSC and Costa in Europe. We just need to bring that now over to the US. But it's a step in the right direction. But as Galen mentioned, this isn't just let's put a ship back in the water and start sailing. If you read the 40-page document, it is intense of the requirements that they're putting on this industry. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was going to print it. I ran out of paper. It's an intense document, and it's a good read if you want something to distract from whatever else is going on today. But there's a lot that we all have to look at doing, from the health and safety protocols to pre and post. It's just a lot to do, but it is a step in the right direction. And I think, as Galen said, we all have a very different plan, and it does keep changing. We like to say when we're on meetings at Virgin Voyages, every meeting, what we're doing, it's about as accurate as the meeting, because it could change in the next meeting because things are very, very fluid. And you know, we have a very different plan than Royal Caribbean does, but we all are looking to return in a very safe way and build that confidence.
Well, this is hub magic right here. If you're an agent on the call and you saw the no sale order get lifted, boy, I wonder if I could get on a webinar this afternoon and talk directly to the cruise lines. Boom, here we are. So let's go back to you, Galen. John mentioned that there's this giant playbook that we have to follow now. What are you hearing from your company about when you might be able to get out and cruise again?
So there's a lot of steps that have to be put into place. So I don't know if everybody has had a chance to go through some of the specifications, but each of the cruise lines will start out with some test cruises, and we're excited about that because it'll be little short ones with employees and volunteers, and it'll be step by step. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I think the hub is a great place to start.
That's right. A lot of suckers here. Let's go.
So, and your ship's in the water, right, John? So we can just hop from mine to yours and go back and forth and test them all. And,
all right.
So we're excited about that. So right now we're just digesting this huge manual because we got our first look at it when you guys got your first look at it. So we're going through each and every page and each and every specification to make sure we do that correctly. And that's a lot of behind the scenes work, and we're doing the work on bringing the crew in. So the crew will have to come in, and then they will quarantine, and then they'll get on the ship and they'll quarantine. And so that takes time. So I think that's what's going to happen in the near future. And in the meantime, we'll be working on getting everything up to speed on the ship, which means it's go time for us. It's go time for everybody on this call. We don't need to wait until there's a ship in the water with guests on it. This is, I think, Pat, you said it, it's time to get down to business. So we're ready to get down to business. We've had all these tools waiting. I haven't checked the stock lately, but this morning it was on the rise. That's exciting because that consumer confidence is coming back. So, wow, did I ever get off track on your question?
No,
But
that's great. Don't worry about it.
I'll turn it over to John. We do have a lot going on behind the scenes, and that's multiple parts that will change. So if I tell you we're going to do blank, by tomorrow it's different.
Well, there's a lot changing and a lot going on, and I have not seen the 40-page document, but John, you tried to print it and it choked your printer. Are there any headlines or things that you've taken from it that would be noticeable, or things that agents need to know off the top that maybe they haven't learned yet?
Well, I think it's really those health and safety protocols that they're requiring each of us to put into place. And, we've all rolled out our own unique plans. And we did that not really knowing what the CDC really wanted us to do just yet. So I think, as Galen mentioned, we're now absorbing that information and saying, okay, we had this idea when it comes to testing. Now they're requiring this. How do we best adapt to that? And as much as I would love to have you go from Royal ship to ours, we have to bring ours back from Italy still. But because, again, with that no sail order, we had to take our crew back to Italy just to get them off the ship. It was that type of environment for us. But I think for all of us, even the testing, even like there's reporting that's required now of each of the lines of, putting the right information out there to the CDC on a consistent basis. So I know our team is looking at it and saying, okay, how do we pivot from this? And then how do we create a true, a sail date that makes sense and doing it in a safe way?
So if you're on the call and you're an agent and you have a question for John or Galen, please drop into the chat. We'll bring you into the conversation. Galen, I want to circle back to something that you said, which just seems to be the type of dedication and employee ask that isn't normal. You said that the cruise personnel will have to go on the ship and then quarantine on the ship before they even get to work. Is that right? Like, what does that get? What an ask for the employee, and what a testament to what the team's going to go through.
Sure, and I can tell you that we've been doing all sorts of connections with the crew during this hiatus, and they are so excited to get back to work. They are really thrilled. So everybody's been kind of in that pause and in that waiting mode, and it is our intention, safety over everything. And that's why it is going to take us a little bit of time to make sure all the protocols are correct, because when you do it, you want to do it right. So they will be coming in, and they will happily do step by step so we can create that almost NBA bubble, right? Yep. So the testing that's required, you bring everybody on the ship, and it's the crew is COVID free, the passengers are COVID free. We can create that environment, and there's so many layers of what ifs that we have to be prepared for every contingency. And I think that's what every cruise line has been diligently working on. And then the great part is every single vendor, whether it's a cruise line or a land supplier, is offering extensive training. And I can't stress enough that you've got to send yourself or somebody from your office to get up to speed on that training. And we will give you every detail that you need to know. So you just need to keep an eye out for that and make sure that you're attending those trainings as those are launched.
Yeah,
and once everything's finalized, then we'll be able to announce those dates.
And let's talk about that, because on our call today, we have several of our hub stars, other high-powered agents and agency owners. You're talking right to them. You want to get down to business. We want to get down to business. We've got people that are dying to get out on the water. What do you want them to do right now? Call you, go on the website? Like, what's the call to action?
So we will post everything on the website. That's a great question. So we will make sure that, so for our particular brand, everybody here has a sales manager. So you'll be receiving emails and notifications about all the trainings. So that will come to you. But let's say you've got ICs, or you've got some people who may not know who their sales manager is. Just go to one of our websites, either Cruising Power or Loyal to You Always, and you will find all of that training listed. There's nothing on there now because, as I said, we still have to digest it all, then create those protocols. So what we want you to do right now is go to one of those sites and making sure that you're engaged with those customers. The ones who have the FCCs that are waiting to spend those until they find out when we're going to be back in the water, those are the customers you want to talk to. And you don't really want to talk to them in a sales mode. You want to talk to them in an aspirational mode, right? So you already know your customer. Where did they miss their summer vacation? Are they looking for a summer in the Caribbean with their families? Are they wanting to go back to Alaska because Alaska was cut off this year? So when you're talking 12 months to 18 months out, it makes a lot of sense to talk to them right now and just to make sure that when they're ready, you're here for them. And on everybody's site, you're going to find all those materials, customizable emails, information on the FCCs. There is a program, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, called Branch Up. It's a free program, so you can get free marketing and you can post on any of your social media. Joe, I think you guys use that, right? So it's great. You can use all the suppliers' creative stuff and then just have that posted for you, and you get to choose which ones you want to post. So nobody forces anything, down your throat. And we're one of the vendors that's included in the Branch Up program.
We've heard a lot of good stuff about Branch Up, and it's
good.
great to hear.
Good.
Molly is in the chat and wants to know how she volunteers to be one of the test subjects, suggesting a full travel agent training on board while they're the guinea pigs on the cruise. John, I want to ask you the same question I asked Galen because you might have a different answer. What do agents need to know right now about Virgin and how you're rolling out?
Well, we rolled out our Voyage Well program back in June, early July. And, there's a lot of those protocols that we will follow as we, set a date to kind of really sail. But it keeps changing. I mean, what we got from the CDC, over the past few days, we'll have to make some tweaks to it, no doubt. And it might tweak it. We might have to tweak it again. The one thing, if you read the report, is that they can still change their mind. This isn't the last thing they're going to say to us about how to do this correctly. So I would encourage everyone, obviously, to connect with our sales managers. Firstmates.com is where we have all of that content, where you can drop us a line and connect with your regional sales manager. But it's very fluid still, because what we know today very well could change tomorrow.
Inside your team, behind the scenes, are they believing it's almost go time? Are they excited? Are they frustrated? Because you're in a unique spot, right? Yeah. So what's your team feeling right now? Because we all can't wait to get on the cruise. We know that it's going to be fantastic, but you've been waiting, and now you're so close and it keeps on being held off. What is your team thinking and how are they feeling?
It's frustrating. It is. It is probably for everybody on this call. For us in particular, we were 20 days away from launching a brand, and we had to literally put the brakes on that. But I think in hindsight, I'm glad we didn't quite launch. It'd be one thing if we sailed for a week or two and then had to stop, right? I think in hindsight, we have the opportunity to still launch the brand in the right way. I think for us, from the sales side, we're impatient. We want to get on that ship. We want the advisors on the ship. We want the sailors on. Thankfully, we have a very, very strong board of directors, and they're teaching us a little patience, because we get one chance to truly launch this brand. And so we're learning to just take our time, and we'll do it in the right way when the time comes, but patience.
Well, with a brand as strong as Virgin, I know it's going to be great. So good luck with that. We've got a question in the chat from Steve. Steve, I'm not sure if it's for Galen or John. I combined your names there. Jalen, why not? Let's just have you on the show. We'll call it the Jalen show. Galen or John, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, no, I came in a little bit late, so you might have mentioned it. One of you two might have mentioned it, but are you guys doing something similar to what MSC is doing in terms of how they've managed to get at least one of their ships going again? Is the U.S. companies taken sort of those same kinds of measures? Is that what's the plan?
I think that's the goal, Steve. I think and I won't speak for Galen, but the idea is now seeing what those requirements are with the CDC. What does that mean for us? When can we put a ship in the water? Knowing that the ramp up period with what they've required us now from the CDC is it's going to take a little more time than just, hey, we're going to sail in 2 weeks. So, For us, it's a different time frame as well, because there are other things we need to do, like get advisors on the ship to actually experience what we're building so they can, best sell that to their clients. So it's hard to say what that time frame is for everybody, but the goal is to do just that and put the right protocols, because what MSC is doing is working.
Yeah. Galen, do you have any feedback on that, or did John
Yeah,
handle it
see,
okay?
I'd agree with that, John, because MSC is doing a great job.
Fantastic.
They really are. And here's the crazy thing: from when they started to today, which is what, a month and a half, maybe,
At least.
the testing has changed incredibly. So by the time we're in the water, the testing will change again. So it's getting faster, it's getting quicker. Richard Fain said that testing is almost as important as coming up with any other program for it. So that's the most important thing that we can work on right now, is getting to make sure that testing is working, and MSC has made it work. So did they copy it exactly? No, but I think the Healthy Return to Sailing panel really took a close look at that.
Molly's in the chat. She has a question about the $1 million question. Molly, do you want to take a shot at Galen and John here?
Well, so can we say January, or realistically, do we need to look at February?
That's a great question. John?
I would say
Here,
or March,
you take it.
or April.
realistically, I personally think January is going to be tough for everybody. I really do. If you're looking at putting customers back on a ship because they are wanting to get back on, honestly, I would look at Q2 or later, unless your customers are comfortable with shifting again.
Yeah. So I would
that's
say
the reality of it. It's hard to say.
I would say sell summer, start in Q2, Q3,
Yeah.
and sell summer forward. But for the customers that are already booked in January, February, that's where you're getting the questions, right?
Yeah.
Final payment's coming. Should I make my final payment? I can hear it. They're in my inbox. So, it's how we're going to start is very small. We'll start with just a handful of ships. We will not plop 26 ships in the water and say, okay, let's go. So you have to take that into consideration, knowing that we will start really small. And we'll do everything we can to not have another rolling shutdown. Hopefully we can mitigate that, but it's out of our control. There's the key right there. We're not in control. And that's a hard thing for us.
Yeah.
I want to stop for a minute. I just want to stop for a minute. I want everybody to take a deep breath. Do you know why? We're talking about booking. We're talking about traveling. We're talking about going someplace. Now, the hub, as much fun as we've been having, it's been like the most depressing travel thing of all time, because we're talking to people all over the world and sometimes we can't even go see them. And today we're like, now we can start talking about where we're going to go and when we're going to go. And it's just a breath of fresh air. It just feels so freaking great to say it. So I don't know, that's soapbox time, but man, I'm energized by having this conversation, and I hope you are too. And Molly, I totally second what you're saying about hub stock at sea. I think that's exactly what we might have to do here.
Yeah.
Joe Jiffo, it's great to see you on the call today. You had some thoughts in the chat. Can you share them with Galen and John?
Yeah, having sat on both John and Galen's position, there's no other industry that's going to be more prepared from when ready to sail than the cruise industry. If you look back for the last 12 plus years in the norovirus cases that our industry has had to tackle, right, and all the precautions and safety measures that are put into place, so the industry is already sort of on that track because we've done this before. So, there's a huge confidence level that we'll have when talking to our clients, or in my case, talking to agents in our network about being confident when we're ready to sail again, because the precautionary measures that they will put in place will be like no other. I mean, MSC has proven it over in Europe, and I just think, over here in the US, we're going to take it a step beyond that, and looking forward to it. It's going to be the safest mode of travel, and have to get, all the negativity from outside of our industry away from the cruise industry, and show that, how safe it is to cruise.
That's a great point, and I appreciate you weighing in on that. Galen, let me ask you a naive question. I think I know the answer, but I just want to ask this because I assume it happened, but I don't know that it happened. And it's different than what John might have to say because his ships or his cruise lines are new. So how long has it been since you've been up and running with cruises running? How many months?
So I'm sorry, I don't.
So
How long has
how
it been?
long has it been since you've not been operational?
How long have we been out of the water? March 13th, Friday
All right.
the 13th.
Of course, right?
You want to know what
Naturally.
time? 4:05
Naturally.
p.m.
So, and here's the naive question. I would imagine that not being able to go anywhere, the teams have been working on the ships and upgrading and decorating and making them better and bigger. And like, I would assume that's what's been going on, right?
That's a great assumption. So as some of you who know who've been trying to buy toilet paper and paper towels, it's a supply and demand issue. The shipyards were forced to shut down. So a lot of the ships have been delayed a little bit, and a lot of the projects that we would want to move forward, we said, can we move some of our amplification projects forward? We could, but we can't get them in the shipyard. The shipyard can't get the supplies. So it's one of those, which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
But the only other thing I wanted to say, when you were asking John about how his sales team felt because they have a product that they're just dying to sell, I would just say that one of the great things about cruising is the anticipation. And now we've got the anticipation because it is coming back and we will be on board. But his product, man, there is an electric feel in the air about that product. So the anticipation is out there. And I think that's what keeps the sexiness and the excitement alive, is just the anticipation of that product. But don't tell anybody I said that.
No,
Yeah.
well, look, I appreciate that. I mean, you have got to understand, we have a North American sales team that has yet to step foot on a ship.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen the ship. We have yet, I mean, we see it in a picture. I have not stepped foot on our ship yet. So
That's
the
crazy.
anticipation is not just our advisors and consumers. Like, no offense, we're getting on before you do. We need to see this thing first. I've been selling this for 2.5 years, and you know, it's a challenge, but it's fun. But thank you.
No, that's good. Good to hear. Red, you've got a question for us about capacity. Am I reading that right?
Yes. I've had some clients kind of concerned because there's been so many people that have rebooked or moved their dates further back and stuff. And with the limited capacities, that'll probably happen when the cruises start going out to sea again. You know, a lot of people now are waiting until it opens. But I'm also hearing too that some cruise destinations are getting full to capacity at certain times and stuff like that. So, you know, some of these people say, oh, well, I'll wait and then I'll book something for next month. And I'm just like, that may not be the case. So,
I wouldn't do that.
yeah, I know. And I'm trying to tell them that and they keep saying why. And I'm just like, well, because there have been a lot of rebookings. People have pushed back their dates and stuff like that. Plus, these ships are not going to be sailing at full capacity.
Right.
And we don't know for how long that'll be either. So
Right. And it, again, we're back, I hate that phrase, but we're back to the very fluid situation.
right.
So keep in mind that there are avid cruise fans, the Crown and Anchor members, which you guys all know and love. And if you look at the boards, if you look on the social media, they are chomping at the bit to get back on board. They just need to get back into the ocean. So there will be much more demand than there is ship to begin with, for at least months and months and months, right? The other thing is people are worried about booking because there is a capacity. The interesting thing is, as far as revenue management goes, is there's a certain percentage of the ship that sells within the last 3 months. Right. So you have an initial surge, then it fills a little bit, and then there's the topping off the ship. So we don't have to really put a limit on that because it's actually the capacity is managing itself because we don't have that last minute demand. So everybody who's booked for January, February does not have to stress out because that capacity is really looking really nice. So they should stick with their plans. And if they see something they want to book, absolutely book it.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Red, thanks for the question. Tom, you've got a question. Go ahead, pal.
Not as a question is more of a statement or whatever, but I just want to agree with, you know, and thank Joe because, you know, some of those comments are very well taken. We've talked about the importance of consumer confidence and trust as being a major factor driving, you know, getting people back to traveling. And, you know, the cruise lines have had the benefit of, you know, the experience of what MSC has done. They have the benefit of time and also now just a better understanding of, you know, what's working and consumers that are adjusting to the expectations. And so, I feel really good about it. And, from our standpoint, getting the agents on the hub mobilized, getting them to the point where, we can start driving cruise revenue in a really big way is super important to us. And I also wanted to say that one of the things that we're going to be doing, Danielle and Pat and I, is that, we on the hub have a really great platform to serve as a repository for all of the information. Information that's generated from the cruise lines, information that's generated from our hub members, and that can become a really great centralized point for our members to go to get the latest and greatest and most updated information. So please watch for that, because we'll be building that out, now that the time has come. And you guys have seen some of the other groups and the other content on the hub. And this is really just a perfect application of how do we consolidate and how do we organize all of the information that the cruise lines need all of us to have in order to effectively do our jobs. So watch for that coming up on the hub.
So let's do this, Galen and John. I'll come to you both individually. What haven't we talked about, Galen, that you want to make sure people hear about from you in regards to we're going to get back out on the water and things are going to get better soon? What else do you want to talk about?
I think that's the big takeaway. I did want to give a shout out to Steve. I didn't know you used to work on board ships. That's kind of awesome. So how that crew is. They love their jobs. People are like, oh, they work so hard, you're so mean to them. I'm like, no, we got them lining up to come back on board. So that's very cool. Welcome to the land side. No, I would just say that communication is key, and having a platform like the hub is really the best way to do your fact checking and to make sure that you're up to speed on everything that's going on, because we are moving. It feels like a glacial pace, but it is really moving quickly now. So I think it's just key to stay in touch and make sure that you communicate efficiently with your customers and your suppliers.
Great to hear. Great to hear. Thanks for the information today. John, final thoughts that we need to know about Virgin Voyages and anything else in relation to the changes that happened in the last week?
No, I would just, I think the communication to your clients shouldn't stop. And I think you can get to the point now of really promoting inspirational travel is great, keeping them excited. But I think you're at a point now, whether it's land or cruise, you should be putting those offers in front of clients. Whether it's for Q2 or Q3, they're going to want to get away. And if you're not communicating to your clients, I guarantee you the OTAs will. So keep in front of your clients, whether it's a land product, whether it's Royal's product, my product, keep that product in front of your clients, whatever it happens, because the time will come when that comfort level, the tipping point will happen and people will start booking. So.
Yep. A couple of minutes ago, when I took a moment to reflect how great this is, it might have seemed a little flip. It really isn't. Tom and I and Danielle, we are so excited for you and for Galen and for the entire cruising industry. And we're excited to connect you with the agents. So thank you for coming on today, both of you. And this is the start of big things. As much as the last 8 months were terrible, this is going to be a rocket ship when it takes off. And we're all going to be here to support you and help one another. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you,
we
guys.
really appreciate it. Oh, it's fantastic. And keep us in mind for those test cruises, right? Because we're here for you. Danielle Whitmore, you've always got something exciting cooking. Give us the update on the destination communities and the other exciting things you're building on the hub.
Yeah, so just an overall update on some of the destinations and what's going on in the news that, is an extension of the very exciting progress that we have in the cruise industry, thanks to the updates we just got. But there's also progress. Costa Rica is now open without restrictions as of November 1st. So that joins Mexico and the Dominican Republic, who are destinations that are open without any restrictions. And if I'm sure you've been paying attention to the airlines, they're adding flights in parallel to these destinations. So United alone, I believe, has increased like 25 new flights to Mexico, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, and some other places in the Caribbean. So the airlines are continuing to assess and add capacity to these resort areas and destinations as they are opening. Another thing that I found out yesterday, which is good news and progress, especially in the Cancun Riviera Maya area, is that they are going to increase the hotel capacity restrictions. So I think right now they're at 60%. So they are going to increase those capacity, I believe, to 80% starting in December for the holidays. And then hopefully that will then flow into the new year. So they'll, I think, combine with the airlift that will be available and the inventory, so that, again, what John said, there is going to be some great offers out there for vacation package travel, land or cruise. So to keep a pulse on what's opening, where the flights are going, and look for those great packages that I think we're going to start seeing very soon. With that, I'm still working on with our friends at the Dominican Republic. We had Lucienne on a few weeks ago. I'm working to get her back. She's actually back in the Dominican Republic now. So hopefully we can have her back to talk about some updates that are going on there, as well as launching her community. So if anyone has any questions or wants to talk any more about destinations as they're reopening or any of this information, please reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you.
Well, you're doing a great job on the communities and keeping all of this information up to date and in front of all of us. Like, just the amount of information that you keep and put out is really fantastic. I really appreciate it. I want to show you a couple of quick things on the platform because when we get a spare moment on calls like this, it's kind of cool to show off how to use this platform, because to be honest, as a group, we're probably using it only to about 20% of its capacity. This thing can do so much more. Excuse me. It can even get me choked up. I'm so excited about it. Excuse me. I want to show you just a couple of little features here. So the first thing is, inside your feed when you log in, you'll see all the stuff that people are talking about. Excuse me. But if you're not just dropping inside here and sharing something that's on your mind or a piece of information, you're missing an opportunity. So feel free to drop in and share literally what's on your mind, share a video, share a link, something you see in one of the travel blogs that you think is worth for everybody to see. Feel free to jump in and comment on it. The second thing is, this looks like just a little like Facebook kind of post, right? It's like 200 characters. But if you click right under here and click expand to article, it's a full-blown blog post, and you can add everything you would possibly want to add, video, pictures, whatever it might be, into this long blog post. So don't feel like you're limited just to little Facebook posts and that's it, because that's not the case. The second thing I want to show you is the groups. So you heard Danielle talk about the destination communities that we're building. In case you're not sure how to get there, because we all got to learn how to use this thing, when you log into the hub and you click groups, there they are. So if you want to hang out with our friends from Lomas Travel, right here you would see this button that says join. I've already joined. You could also do the same thing with Costa Rica. Hello. You can pop in and see them as well and see all of their content. They're doing such a great job putting up content, and talk with all of the agents and suppliers from Costa Rica that are inside there. So again, to get there, you'll log in, you'll click groups, and there, you can log in right to those communities and join them. And it's such a great resource that Danielle is just driving to the moon. So this is going to be full of amazing places to connect real soon. One more thing I want to show you, and this is something no one has used because I didn't turn it on until last night. So, my bad. But right now, you'll see a little widget over here that says chat. You have the ability to chat with everyone that's online. Right now, all of these members are online. So if you clicked here and said, yeah, today is going great. I've stress eaten a whole bag of Doritos. How are you? Click, right? And you can have people chat with each other just for no apparent reason at all. Just jump in and have a conversation. So if you're ever feeling like, hey, did anyone see the CDC ruling that came today? ? You could have a place. It's like turning to your coworkers inside the office. It's something that may take traction. It may take hold. Don't know if it will, but I want to show you how to do it anyway. So once you log in, you click chat and boom, there you go. So those are a few of the features that we have here on the hub. I encourage you to jump in, splash around, meet the people that you don't know, have one-on-one meetings, because someone that's in your industry 1,000 miles away we're all here on the same path, and we're all here to work with one another. That's what the hub is all about. So, Tom, any final thoughts before we wrap up today's Hub Think Tank all about cruising? Makes me want to go on a long voyage. How about you?
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think you're really right, and I'm really glad the way that you finished up the call today, because as we're getting more members, we're right at about the 400 member mark now. What we're going to start to focus on is really helping the membership, helping our suppliers and great agents utilize all the tools and everything that the hub has to offer, because as you mentioned, we haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, there's, yes, there's the feed, yes, there's the destination communities, but there's a lot of peer-to-peer work that we can do. There's a lot of small affinity group opportunities. There's a lot of mentoring opportunities. It's virtually limitless. So, now that we have, now that we have a whole bunch of people that came to our party, we really want to show off all the things that we can do. And I appreciate you giving a little bit of a demonstration of it, because that's really where the rubber hits the road. I mean, the activity feed is fantastic. It's a great way to have a conversation, but what we really want to do is continue to develop the business to business elements of what the hub can do, because that's really what's going to make the difference. That's how we're going to generate sales. That's how we're going to get better, bigger, better, and smarter. So that is that. And, really appreciate the conversation today, and lots of more great ones to come. Thursday, again, is our friend Marilyn Cairo from Charisma Resorts is going to be on the morning show. So please do not miss that.
So, Tom, you said big party, and I just thought kegger. So that's just right where my head went, right there. So it's not quite a kegger, at least not till hub stock, but definitely get in and splash around in the feed, because we're here to have a good time. One last comment. It's a big day in the United States. There's a big election going on today. So watch it in good health. Lean on your friends on the hub and your friends in and out of your social communities, so we can all make sure that we enjoy the experience and we grow together moving forward. So good luck to whatever you believe, and we'll see what happens, right? Like, nobody knows. So beer me, I guess. I guess that's going to be the theme. So that wraps up today's Hub Think Tank. Thank you to John and Galen for giving us the breaking news about the no sale order going away. And we will see you on Thursday. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good week.